Well, I would have gotten this review up sooner, although, but I actually went down to Monday Night Raw this past Monday night down in Des Moines, Iowa, which is a couple hours away from me. So, hey, this was a doable trip. And you know what? I got to praise God in person. And speaking of God, who better to start off this episode of Raw than God himself? He introduced the face of WWE, one Randall Keith Orton, and he wants to play a little game. And he's just talking about his title defense on Night of Maddox, or Night of Champions, I guess, but I like to call it Night of Maddox just because. But anyway, those three, he has three little questions. That was very good, and then God, he's saying that he's not saying that Daniel Bryan can't reach for that brass ring, but he wants to give him something that he can reasonably shoot for. Like, say, the Cruiserweight title. Bring back the Cruiserweight title. Or even the European title. How funny would that be? But then you get an appearance by one Daniel Bryan himself, and this really was an excellent opening segment. And God just saying that we're not the guys you should be mad at, referring him and Orton, but you should be mad at Big Show because he didn't do anything, didn't lift a finger to help him, even with an ironclad contract. But yeah, so, and speaking of Daniel Bryan against Big Show, that's what your main event is. Praise God. So, in the immortal words of one B-Rad, finally we get this match. Oh, we get the Miz against Fandango. And I thought what was funny is that I finally got to watch the tape of this show. And one thing I did get to see was that during the commercial break, evidently Fandango legit broke his nose after a kick to the face by the Miz, but this match was okay. Hey, I got to see my future wife, Summer Rae. Only she just doesn't know it yet, but anyway, the Miz ended up winning the match with the figure four. Woo! So next we get Dolph Ziggler, and he doesn't know he was gonna wrestle. You would have thought it would have been Dean Ambrose because he ends up attacking him from behind and throwing him shoulder first into the ring post and trying to teach him about respect, But then Ryback's music hits, and I can tell you just because I was there, and I'm sure you can tell on TV as well, but it is a very loud Goldberg chant. Oh, man. But needless to say, this match didn't last very long. I'm guessing we're probably going to get Ziggler against Dean Ambrose at Night of Champions for the U.S. title. So, Ryback ends up basically winning in a squash, so, So then we get to see Brad Maddox in action. And evidently he just got done talking to Big Show, and he's reporting back to God and Goddess. And he's not really wanting to fight Daniel Bryan in the main event, so that kind of sets up your 1 hour main event, which means that Steph's coming down to the ring, and she calls out her friend and her giant, the Big Show. And evidently, I'm guessing supposedly Big Show's got money problems. He's made bad investments. Evidently, the strip mall he invested in went belly up, I guess. So, and she's saying that she's known him since she was 12 years old. I think you're getting him confused. I think, Steph, with all due respect to you, girl, I don't think you're talking about the right giant here, because Big Show's only been in WWE since 1999. Maybe when you're 12 years old, you knew Andre. Because he was still around when you were 12 years old. So, but that being said, this is another good segment with Steph and Big Show. Although you would think that it's really kind of too bad that Kane's off making a movie right now, because he would have been perfect in this role. Because when have you ever heard of Big Show and Daniel Bryan being good friends? I'm just throwing that out there, But I still think Kane would be much better off in this role. That's just my opinion. So then we get the primetime players against 3MB. Well, we all know what started this nice babyface run for the primetime players, which, I mean, that's neither here nor there, but I love the fact that they finally got them turned babyface in this millions of dollars dance. I love it. I mean, and the crowd's getting into it too, which is great. So they end up winning again, and gee, could there be possibly a title shot in the works for them? Maybe I don't know. Maybe at Night of Champions. Who knows? Maybe or just somewhere down the line. I think it'd be great to see. Okay, so we get this match with Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, where this was made earlier in the night by God. Where if Cody Rhodes doesn't win, he gets fired. Well, he kind of knew where this was leading, because he is actually getting married here in the next week or so. So, well, I guess he's going to get a little bit of vacation in time for a honeymoon. So, but this was a very awesome match. This is probably the match of the night, in my opinion. And there's a great amount of storytelling in this. It was very good. I mean, the crowd was really behind Cody Rhodes. Ever since they turned him babyface, after the Money in the Bank, Cody has really stepped up. He's really stepped up his game, but anyway, Orton ends up winning. In order for God himself, he comes out there and regrets that he has to fire him. When you're in the position of God, you have to make these tough decisions sometimes. So, but then later on when he's leaving, the promo that he got was just awesome. Probably the best promo I've seen from him in the whole time that he's been up there. Talk about the American Dwayne Dusty Rhodes down in Florida, tearing it up in the Hall of Fame. They talk about Dustin being the natural in WCW, and then when he came up to WWE in 1996, and he hasn't been the same since. That was awesome. That was just a great promo. So it'd be interesting. I'm really interested to see how they're going to bring him back. We know that Shane McMahon, he quit his job at that Japanese company or whatever it was, like the on-demand company, but could he possibly come back? That would be something I would really mark out for, no pun intended. So then you open up the second hour main event with CM Punk promo. He's never won one for promises, but it still carries a lot of weight with him. And it kind of does with me, myself, It's like, if I ever promise anybody anything, I always try to live up to it. I'm just saying. But it's just like the time for talking is over. And he guarantees he will beat Curtis Axel so he can get at Paul Heyman. And he promises to break his face. And that is a guarantee and a promise. And that's pretty much what that segment was about. It's a very short and sweet and to the point promo, and it was a very good one, I thought. Number one contender match to the Divas Championship. It was Natalya, Naomi, and Brie Bella. Basically, it degenerated into a cat fight! and they all beat down on AJ. AJ's being left in the ring, so later on, if you have the WWE app, you would have seen that Goddess herself makes a fatal four-way for the Divas title, so that will be interesting. Not. So then you got No Job Rob against the man who's always jobbing, the Money in the Bank winner, Damien Sandow. Basically the same match as you saw on SmackDown from last Friday night. And once again, Damien Sandow does the job. God, it's... With your Money in the Bank World Heavyweight Championship winner or holder, God, it seems like the last three people that have held that, all they've done is job until they cashed in Money in the Bank. See Daniel Bryan and see Dolph Ziggler. And they're doing the same damn thing with Damien Sandow. Ugh. So then you come up to the main event, and you got the rest of the roster up on the stage because God told them to be up there, and you know what? They're just following God's wishes. And that's usually a good thing. And Big Show, he's really playing up his anguish well with being reluctant to fight Daniel Bryan and everything. Especially last week on SmackDown. I know he's still got this ironclad contract, but evidently it doesn't amount to hell beans anymore. I guess I mean that's another plot hole, I guess you could say, but I still think that Kane should have been in this position if he wasn't out making a movie like Cena Evil 2 or 3 or whichever it is. But I mean it was a good match. I mean Show tried to leave, and then God came back out there and told him to finish the match. And then you end up getting the DQ finish because the Shield attacks Daniel Bryan again. And then he tried to leave again. Then he got Steph coming back out there, and reluctantly Show nails Daniel Bryan with the knockout punch, which and he leaves. God and Goddess, they're patting him on the back for doing a good job. Then Orton comes out again, and he steps on his chest, and that ends the show. As far as my final thoughts on this show, since I got to see it live in person, I thought it was very good. It's going to be interesting to see how far, like what they do with Big Show going forward with the storyline with Daniel Bryan against the Corporation, and the CM Punk Paul Heyman storyline, and along with Curtis Axel. That's going to be really interesting to see what happens there at Night of Maddox. And that Cody Rhodes promo as he was leaving the building, that was awesome. Probably one of the best promos I've seen from him and probably ever. That may have been his best promo. But once again, I thought the show was very good. So, this is Marvelous Mark signing off for now, or am I? Oh, I almost forgot. There's a dark match main event. Since I got to see this live, I can report on this. This is the dark match main event. Was a match that we're going to see at Night of Champions, but it's basically designed to send the crowd home happy. It was CM Punk against Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman. It was a no DQ match. Well, it only lasted about 5 minutes, and Punk half the time was chasing Heyman around. He didn't catch him. It was basically Punk against Curtis Axel, and Punk nailed Axel a bunch of times with that kendo stick, and there was a chair involved in as well, and Axel got in a few good shots, and Punk ends up hitting the go to sleep, and that is it for sure. Good night.